And here we go. Welcome in to another edition of Bucky and BK. Today is Thursday, August 13th, 2026. And the Buck and I are not with you for the next 2 hours. Another load management day for the Buck. Really, he's just mourning the fact that he didn't win the $1.04 million Mega Millions jackpot last night. It was some guy in Illinois, which of course is where the Buck used to live, who gets to take home that prize. But joining me today in his stead, a name you know, a name you trust, a name that Bucky somehow still doesn't know. The great Rodney Rodriguez, a.k.a. Ronnie, a.k.a. Double R, is with me on a Thursday program. Double R, how we doing, man?
Hey, man, we're doing good. It's good to be back in the smoldering Central Texas area. It's hot. I don't think you were missing this. I have to tell you, I was a few weeks in the Midwest, and those folks were complaining about high 80s, low 90s. I'm like, come home with Ronnie. Come home with Ronnie. You'll feel some heat. But
Yeah.
good to be back in the saddle. Good to be with you, and great to talk sports right here this week.
No doubt about it. Yeah, a lot planned for today's show. We'll chop it up with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. We'll go around the conference, get some big storylines as we sit just over 3 weeks away from the first real Saturday of the college football season. Week 0 is just 2 weeks from Saturday. We'll talk some NFL as well. Preseason week 1 kicks off tonight. Of course, we had the Hall of Fame game last week, but every team across the league will be in action over the next 3 days. The Houston Texans will play their first game a little bit later tonight, so we'll talk about that. We've got some NBA to get into, some Texas football conversation, of course, to dive into as well as fall camp continues, and the BBK news and why today's not so bad on a Buck Off Thursday edition of the show. I'll start off by saying good day to the soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice, and shout out to your families as well. I got to mention that while the Buck is out. And really sad story to start today's show, Double R. Our thoughts and prayers, of course, are with the Lake Travis community and the family and friends of Lake Travis senior Odin Hensley, who passed away early Wednesday evening after suffering cardiac arrest during his team's practice on Monday. Hank Carter, of course, the longtime head coach at LT, posted on the Lake Travis Twitter account on Monday that one of the players had suffered a serious medical emergency and they canceled practice, and they had to call out the Travis County Star Flight, and they took Odin Hensley to the ICU at Dell Children's, and unfortunately it was the worst case scenario. So rest in peace, Odin Hensley, gone way, way too soon, 17 years old. Just an awful, awful tragedy for the Lake Travis community, Double R. I know you're intertwined with the high school football scene in the state of Texas, and this is just so, so sad. Our love to his family, his friends, and obviously the entire Lake Travis community. A really, really tough stories. We're all excited about the start of football season and everyone back at practice getting ready for the games. This is just a really, really tough one to talk about, and I know a ton of folks around here are hurting because of it.
It's a horrible situation, and you go back and a lot of we ex high school football players, we talk about how we did 2-a-days in the heat and no water breaks and all this, that, and the other. But when you really look at everything that goes on, having been at these preseason practices many times myself, the precautions that are in place, when it comes to hydration stations and breaks and monitoring this and not having these kiddos, out in the horrible time of the day, which is really hard around here. Either very early in the morning or late in the evening is really about the only time. But it really hits home in a situation with all of that in place, that this still does happen. And cardiac arrest, that's something that how do you predict that? I mean, how do you try to defend against that? We don't know any prior health history for him, but odds are the school districts do their due diligence. The athletic departments do everything to try to prevent these things. So it is very sad, and I know a lot of people in that community. I've talked to a couple of people. They're rallying around. Football obviously is secondary at this point, but it does hit home because this is a very exciting time. These schools are getting cranked up and ready to go, and all the best to that community, all the best to the band members that are out doing this too. It's not just the football players. So yeah, and guys, ladies that are in these extracurricular activities, if something doesn't feel right ahead of time, throw up a red flag. Throw up a red flag and say something.
Take care of yourself. The heat is no joke out there, and man, just an awful tragedy for this young man and his family, and the Lake Travis community, and just the Austin community. I think folks all over the state of Texas have done a tremendous job. They started a GoFundMe. It's raised over $150,000 right now to help his family with medical bills, and that was started, of course, before we got the news from last night, but great to see how many folks have stepped up for this family, but obviously so sad. I mean, the red flag, when we saw that tweet, I mean, they don't, you don't get a tweet like that for nothing. And again, unfortunately, it was worst case scenario. It sounds like, the folks at Lake Travis, the coaching staff, the training staff, the medical staff, the EMS professionals, like they sprung into action and they did everything they could, obviously, once it happened on Monday. But unfortunately, it was too late for Odin Hensley. So awful. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with his family and the entire Lake Travis community right now, and the entire Texas high school football community right now. Everyone's mourning together for this, the loss of a 17-year-old young king. And yeah, man, really, really sad to see for sure.
Yeah, and I think what compounds this, and again, just purely speaking facts right here, is that when it comes to Texas high school football, it's the king of sports around here. I mean, football is king, and high school football definitely in these parts. I know in my travels, when I tell people about Texas high school football, they think that a lot of what they hear is made up, and no, it's not. It really is that big. But when something as tragic as this happens, and then at a program, when you look at elite programs, when you look at names that you can say anywhere around the country, Lake Travis High School is one that's very recognizable. Yep. So that really just brings more to it, that it's going to get talked about more. And what you hope happens in these situations is that you learn stuff and that you move on. But like we're talking about, this is more, how do you prevent this? I mean, how do you, whatever, when this happened, it was not at a time of day where it was the hottest part of the day, like we were talking about, but there's a lot of talk about it. There's going to be a lot of concern over it. Hopefully what does come out of it is that those precautions get a little better. I know AFib machines and all this that you see everywhere now, it continues to get better and better. But, the bottom line is, a kid taken from us way too early, a senior, probably about to embark in one of the best years of his very short life at this point. But bottom line, he's gone, and our hearts are broken for all those folks out there.
Absolutely. Well said, for sure. Tell your people you love them every single day. Every single day. All right. Tough to transition, of course, away from that. I do want to congratulate Coach Margaret Bates, the new leader of the Texas women's soccer program. The Longhorns played their first game of the 2026 season last night, and they won their first game of the 2026 season last night. Texas taking down Houston Christian 3-0, the final score. We got to use that term again, even though the World Cup's over. 3-0. The final. Margaret Bates came to Texas this offseason after a 4-year tenure at UCLA, where she won a national championship. Another big-time hire, at least on paper, for Chris Del Conte. We'll obviously see how things plan out, but a great start for the Texas women's soccer team. A great hire, a proven coach who's had high-level success at a major school, and excited to see what she could do with the Texas women's soccer program moving forward. It's happening. I mean, everyone's doing the countdown for football, but volleyball gets going next weekend. Soccer's already started. The fall sports are getting cranked up. Double R, man. Football and sports are on the brain. And August is. I was talking to Evan Veith of Inside Texas about this yesterday. August is a tough month. I know you've got things happening, right? You've got the NFL preseason. Obviously, Major League Baseball continues, and camp is going on for college football, and it's right here, which is great. But it's also like so frustrating because you're just constantly getting teased with practice and scrimmages and preseason games. It's like it's these final 23 days between now and game one are pretty brutal, man. I'm hurting getting to the end of this race that is the start of the season.
And that's the gap in between there is it's like, okay, what else are you going to watch for your entertainment value? If you're gonna fire up your Tom McKay AV consultation 3 TV setup that I have here, it's like, okay, I'm either watching a replay, I'm watching something retro, or the constant just news. And it's like, let's get on the field, let's get on the volleyball court, let's just get some stuff happening that really counts. I mean, I think I'm a little different in the sense that for me with the NASCAR stuff that I cover, it's kind of the buffer in between there for a lot of people, even though TV ratings don't really show that. But you've got that's happening, which is really the only other than a golf tournament. You may have a golf tournament, but you don't have a major in there. You don't have anything huge. I guess LPGA had a major in that thing, but it's not going to get the run of everything else. It's like, man, let's get this started. I know driving in on, I guess it was Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. First day for the Rams and the Cowboys to be on the field together. And I was listening to Dallas sports radio as I was traveling through DFW, and it's just blowing up with, I mean, you're thinking that it's like a pregame show or something with just all the conversation. And I think it's where we're just yearning and hungry to finally get this started. But I always pump the brakes a little bit because I say this all the time before the Super Bowl, to where it's like, let's not get too excited because one more game and we're done. So this is going to go by really, really fast, especially with the expectations we have here in Austin this year.
No doubt. The expectations are sky high, and definitely want to pick your brain and get your thoughts on the first week of Texas fall camp, kind of what you've heard, your big observations, your big takeaways, sort of what's on your mind with the Texas Longhorns. Again, 23 days away from game one against Texas State out of the Pac-12. Don't forget about that, boys and girls. Pac-12 powerhouse, Texas State. But from what you've read and who you've talked to, Double R, and what's come across your social media timelines, what's standing out to you about Texas? Strengths, weaknesses, questions. What's top of mind for you with the Longhorns at this point in training camp?
I can tell you, BK, one of the things that I thought was going to be paramount going into the season, because let's and by the way, the catch, I saw the catch. I think I was in Iowa when that went down, and it's like, wow, that was pretty cool.
Oh, we're calling it the catch. We're doing that.
The catch in practice.
Take that, Dwight Clark. You're done. Cam Coleman has taken over that moniker.
Yeah, forget about Big Sky Joe Montana. Yeah. We don't need any of that stuff. But everything looks solid. And the one thing that I was really wanted to track during practice, during camp, was depth. And it appears that's got to be the goal, and that's the goal for the staff, because like I said, obviously you've got the names, what you've got that are going to take you to the fight. But the question is always, okay, who's going to step in when and if something goes down? I got to say, I still think I'm a little concerned, not concerned, but I think the area that I want to see some growth is the safety, is with safeties. I still want to see that grow. I know you got safety 1, safety 2, but behind them, it's that part, because injuries are going to happen. Hopefully it's not severe injuries. Hopefully it's not something with a lot of lost time. But in that little bit, especially with this gauntlet of a schedule that this team is going to face, the safeties are really where I'm wondering, okay, is this team set there with depth?
Yeah.
But it'll continue to play itself out.
Yeah, well, to start with the good, I mean, Cam Coleman continues to be gooder than good. And again, you brought up the catch. I like that you're giving it that nickname. I mean, the play of training camp around the country to this point. Everybody knows what we're talking about. But for Cam Coleman, it hasn't just been that one play. He has been consistently making plays like that since the moment he stepped foot on campus. And it's not just plays like that, right? It's not just the highlight reel catches. He's just been very consistent with pretty much everything he's done. And his approach has been very consistent as well. His work ethic has been really, really good. And he is kind of led by example. Sometimes it's hard for transfers, guys in their first year at a new program. Doesn't matter how talented you are. When you're new, sometimes it's tough to command a lot of respect in a locker room. Obviously, Cam Coleman, different than most transfers. Everybody knew who he was. Everyone's known who Cam Coleman has been since probably middle school. But to come in and just do everything the way that he has done, the coaching staff, the players, obviously fans and insiders and everybody surrounding the Texas program, every stakeholder continues to sing nothing but positive praise towards Cam Coleman. And apparently, Double R, it's just, that highlight reel grab that he made over the weekend, there was like nobody around him. Obviously, an insane catch, but like apparently just every 50-50 ball that Texas is throwing up, he's coming down with. And there was a moment in practice the other night that I read where a quarterback just overthrew Cam Coleman, and Sark got pissed. It's like, dude, give that guy a chance. Give that guy a chance. Do not overthrow it. Do not throw it out of bounds. Let him try to make a play on the football. And then like 3 times in a row, the quarterbacks did that, and Cam Coleman came down with the football every single time. Like, that's just the type of talent that we're talking about. He led the SEC in contested catches last year. His catch radius is absolutely insane, a rare combination of size and speed and strength. And he seems to be the total package as a wide receiver. And obviously in this offense, working with a real quarterback for the first time in college, feels like the sky is the limit for him. So that, I just want to dive into that first, because we'll talk about the safety concern, and I'm with you. But man, Cam Coleman, it's just, we were excited at the time. Obviously, that was a huge recruiting win for Texas over, Texas Tech and Ohio State. I mean, everybody was interested in Cam Coleman. Alabama was obviously in the mix as well. Georgia for a while too. We were excited when it happened, but I think this guy, again, has been better than advertised. I know that sounds crazy considering what he was advertised as, but I feel like he has exceeded at least my expectations and the expectations of a lot of people inside the walls of Moncrief too.
I have to tell you, it's really refreshing that you get somebody that comes in with this sort of splash and is delivering and is beyond delivering. Where you're still you have that expectation, but you still find yourself in those moments of wow. I mean, this dude, and just think about what this brings. I mean, in the big scheme of things, once you get into the season and the schedule that we keep talking about, this is going to be a dude that defenses are going to have to scheme around to stop, and that's not something that you see all too frequent. To where it's one dude. It's one dude that you have to scheme to not stop, to control with these abilities that we've seen. I mean, like you mentioned, the ball doesn't have to be right in his hands for him to make a big play. And what's this going to do? I mean, this is going to open up the other side. This is going to open it up for Ryan Wingo. You've gone in, you've upgraded your running back room. You've got 2 dudes with really high expectations that appear ready to deliver as well. So you've got that, hopefully an improving tight end situation. But this dude, I mean, if you want to talk about a magic pill, this dude, you're dropping in the magic pill in Cam Coleman that is not only going to be such a threat with his production, but what he's going to do for everybody else on this offensive group.
Yeah, it's a great point. He's going to make life a lot easier for the other 10 guys around him. Obviously, you think of the quarterback first, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Arch Manning doesn't have to throw a perfect ball. Last year, and there were so many drops by these pass catchers. Like, even when Arch Manning did throw a perfect ball, it wasn't guaranteed to be caught. Texas was really bad in the contested catch department in 2025. Again, Cam Coleman led the conference in that stat. You're getting a guy who has experience catching bad balls from the quarterbacks that he played with at Auburn. Hopefully he doesn't have to catch as many of those this year as he has in the past 2 seasons. But yeah, I mean, to have that guy as your number 1 wide receiver, it's going to make life a lot easier for Arch Manning. But you said it. I mean, for Ryan Wingo, for Emmett Mosley, for Jermaine Bishop, Sterling Burkhalter, Khalil Lockett, Dalen McCutcheon, the entirety of that Texas wide receiver room, all of the attention that Cam Coleman is going to garner every single week is going to make life a lot easier for those dudes. And I think of Ryan Wingo, and Bucky and I have talked about this a ton, Double R. Ryan Wingo last year was Texas's best wide receiver by far. So a lot of times he was going up against number one corners every single
Mhm.
week. And he still put up pretty solid numbers. We've talked about it, left some meat on the bone, but he was good enough to be second team all SEC, 830 something yards, led Texas in every major statistical category. He did that as the sort of focal point of the Texas offense and also the focal point of opposing defenses. Now Cam Coleman kind of takes that burden, if you will. Tension may be a better word. And a contract year for Ryan Wingo. I'm expecting both of these guys to put up pretty monster numbers, and it would not shock me at all if Texas has two all SEC wide receivers at year's end.
Absolutely. And with the growth that we saw in Arch Manning, with not the tools, with not this in his tool chest last year,
Yeah.
the last part of the season, everything that we saw with the end of Arch Manning, and that's where the vast difference coming in last year versus this year, to where this year these expectations, like I've said so many times, are a lot more real in the sense that, okay, this is Arch Manning, where last year I think coming in it was Arch Manning. You wanted Arch Manning to be as good as he is right now, which was just impossible with the amount of time that he had, and without the weapons. It didn't have the glass breaking running game and all the different things that he needed that he has now. The other part of this too, where I think Cam Coleman is just such an asset and such a valuable tool to this offense is, look, there's still questions on the offensive line. I mean, honestly, we're not. Everything I hear is that there's improvement, as there should be, but we really won't know until they take on Texas State, when they're not hitting each other, when
Yep.
you're actually in a game situation. So I think with that, Cam Coleman helps that offensive line to where maybe you needed 3 seconds in pass protection. Okay, maybe you just need 2.5, because that dude has the ability to go out and get himself open and make that catch that not everybody else can make. So to the point of Cam Coleman, the valuableness of him, if that's even a word, this is huge. This is
Yeah.
huge.
Just
This is your gym.
I'm telling you, man. No, there's a reason Texas invested as much as they did, literally, in Cam Coleman. They wanted this guy for a reason, and he's been a difference maker. And it's not always a guarantee, right? Like a couple years ago, Texas went out and got Isaiah Bond out of the portal from Alabama, and he was the number one wide receiver at that time in that transfer portal class. And he wasn't horrible at Texas by any stretch, but he didn't live up to the expectations that folks had for him. 34 catches, 540 yards, 5 touchdowns, dealt with some injuries. It was just not the year Texas, I think, had hoped or anticipated when you go out and get the number one wide receiver in the portal. Obviously, time will tell. Cam Coleman hasn't played a game yet as a Texas Longhorn, so we'll see if the Longhorns truly get their money's worth on this investment. But I don't remember hearing these kind of reports. I don't remember seeing catches like this in practice when it came to Isaiah Bond. I think the reasons for optimism for Cam Coleman are significantly higher. And yeah, man, you bring up the offensive line. Now you just hope that those guys can block long enough for Arch Manning to chunk up the rock to Cam Coleman, right? Throw them bombs, because this dude can be a difference maker down the field. But I don't think he's just that. I think he's a total receiver, the total package, who is really honing in on his craft, trying to become as complete of a player as possible. And 23 days from now, we'll get to see what it looks like for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely, because it really is. I mean, I don't want to say a crapshoot, but when you bring somebody in, somebody. I mean, we see it in the NFL all the time, and I think that this is, when it comes to player evaluation and so forth, at whatever level, is so important, because somebody that is just amazing in one system. And that's the point. In one system, may move to another system, and that system is not the most conducive for them. And you get, well, it's just a matter of going and making catches, like we're talking about Cam Coleman here. Well, all he's got to do is catch the ball. Well, no, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. And a Steve Sarkisian offense is a very technical offense.
Yeah.
It's not something you draw up on the playground. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces to this. But I mean, just think about it, and to help Arch, a quick release for Arch. This is going to give him a much quicker release. I think the main thing, what I like about this for Arch Manning too, is, look, I know that he is so dangerous. He is so dangerous with the feet, man. I don't want him running. I want him running as little as possible. You went and you invested, like you said, you invested in 2 running backs. Let them take the brunt of that. Yeah, use them when you need him. but only when you need him. I don't need this dude on the run, putting him at risk. And from everything that we see from him, he's thrown in there as he was before we ever started practice as a preseason Heisman finalist. All of that seems to be coming to fruition. All of that is, and these are fiery practices from what I see, BK. I mean, Sark is turning up the wick on these guys, and he's putting his foot in their tail if he has to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been doing that. Will Muschamp, Jeff Banks. I mean, this coaching staff brings the energy. They bring the intensity, and some of the changes that Sark made going from PK to Will Muschamp, going from Chad Scott to Jabbar Jalouk. That was all about just adding another level of fire to the practices and just to this program in general. It's interesting, your thoughts on Arch Manning. It's like, last time Texas won a national championship, obviously they had a quarterback who was a total difference maker with his legs, and that was a huge part of this offense. And I'm not saying Arch is Vince Young. Nobody is. I'm not saying Arch Manning should run as much as Vince Young did. I'm not saying Arch Manning's as good of a runner as Vince Young is. But I'm like, I know you got to keep him healthy, and you shouldn't need to run him like you did last year. He was your best option in the run game by far in 2025. But, man, that is such a weapon. And I think of the red zone struggles that the Longhorns in the Steve Sarkisian era. I felt like maybe the best red zone play Texas had last year was the Arch Manning run. Hopefully they don't need that, but using that guy's legs, I mean, you get maybe some 21 personnel where you've got, Hollywood Smothers and Derek Cooper flanking Arch Manning. Those are three really, really talented running options right there. Again, doesn't need to be Arch Manning every single time, but I'm in favor. This is an all-in year. Sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit. Now it's Arch Manning's got to slide. He's got to take care of himself. I don't want him taking a million hits, obviously, but that could be the difference in Texas, making the college football playoff and more importantly, doing something when they get there is Arch Manning's willingness and maybe Steve Sarkisian's willingness to use that part of his game.
Yeah, I don't want to get to a point in the season. It always happens. CB can drop that stat the way he always does, to where you have to question the backup quarterback. And I haven't heard a lot about backup quarterbacks. And again, that's insert name of the backup quarterback. You don't want. I don't want to get to the middle of the season and say, can fill in the blank, keep this going for a week or two without Arch Manning. So that's why I think it's so important for him to take care of himself and with the running back, or not put himself in jeopardy, I guess I should say. But with the running back situation, I saw something the other day where they were running a goal line package with Michael Terry. Using Michael Terry in a goal line package. So there's another weapon there. So the tight end, as we've talked about in the Steve Sarkisian offense, everything is there. And it's funny that you bring up the 2005 team, because this really does feel like that to me. It really does. Just kind of the progression of the program to where it's like, oh, you get close, can't quite get there. A little bit of a setback, you get close, you can't hit that expectation. Remember the first Rose Bowl, the win over Michigan. It's like, okay, almost there. And then same thing coming into this season as with 05, it's all about USC. Ohio State seems to be right now. And look, I'm glad Texas is number 4 in the coaches poll, dude. This is all lining up just the way I wanted it. I don't want to be number 1. Georgia is being projected to win the SEC. Great, fine. I like that.
I agree. You don't need all the hype, don't need all the attention. And look, it's Texas and Arch is still here, so obviously it's not all gone, but it's a lot quieter than where it was a season ago, and maybe that will yield some different results. More importantly, I think the players on the team are going to be the reason for that. We'll get back into the Longhorn football conversation. Want to dive back into Rodney's concern with the safety position and go over a couple of other big notes from Texas fall camp to this point. But before we do that, we'll give our first round of sponsor shout outs. And Double R, I'm going to give you the floor first because I see you've got your AV consultations set up, rocking and rolling at your place. Tell the folks about your experience with our guy Tom McKay and his great crew at AVC.
Man, that was the biggest thing the last 2.5, 3 weeks that I've been gone from Texas. I was missing my audio-visual consultation system, little small TVs and hotels and so forth, limited channel selection. Man, give me a break. I got back here, fired them all up. Hey, man, they can do that for you too. It's football season. We talked about, soccer, volleyball, auto racing, everything's happening right now. And there's not a better way to enjoy that than having a multi-screens on your wall, indoor or outdoor. They can take care of you at any spot. 255-8678, avconsultations.com. You can check out the gallery of projects for you right there. And BK, the best part is, I know I tried to set my own TVs up before. I had them up, but there were wires everywhere. They were not level. They were sitting cockeyed, kind of had to watch like that, depending what's going on. These guys come out, they check out your space. They're going to tell you the best way to lay those out, professional installation. They get those things set in there. You've been to Pluckers. Everybody's been to Pluckers. AV Consultations does those amazing systems there. And then if you have to move, I know BK recently moved. I recently moved, made one phone call, called Tom. They came and picked them up, disassembled, remounted them, ready to go like they've been here all along. They can do that for you too. Enjoy your football. 255-8678. It's audiovisual consultations.
Well done. Beautifully said, my friend. Shout out to AV Consultations. Also, some love to our friends at Kalshi. Hey, before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. We're making predictions. Who wins the conference? Who makes the playoff? And who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can now trade those predictions in a live market. How about this? Will Texas reach the national championship game? Will they qualify for the title game? Right now, the Longhorns are trading at a 24% probability, meaning a $100 trade would net you nearly $400 if you're right. If you're confident in Texas, yeah, boom. How about that? On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position, trade the draft pick, trade the game, and trade more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use promo code Bucky to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi. It's Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risks and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
I need to. So you are trading that isn't like laying a wager. You actually can do that as the odds change. Like that probability gets better. You can sell that.
Yep.
Dude, that is crazy.
Just like the market, I'm telling you. And it's not just sports. I mean, you could trade on the value of Bitcoin. You could trade on elections. You could trade on what the weather is going to be. Seriously, like the high temperature in Austin, you could trade on that right now on Kalshi. So, yeah, the game has changed, my friend, with our friends at Kalshi. It really is. And shout out to our guy, Jay. I saw Jay tuned in earlier today. Both of us rocking our Sue Patrick lids. Go see Jay and the gang at Sue Patrick, the best place to get your Longhorn gear for the upcoming season. The hats, the shirts, the polos, the jerseys, the accessories, the collectibles, everything you need to upgrade your fandom here in 2026. They've got it at Sue Patrick or online at SuePatrick.com. I don't know if they ship up to Canada. I don't know if Jay's going to be able to send me anything while I'm up here, but y'all know, like, I'm always repping Texas. I'm always repping Sue Patrick wherever I am, and you should do the same. Free shipping on online orders over $59. Plenty of parking at their storefront, 5222 Burnett Road. Great people, great products. Again, get your Texas gear ready for the upcoming season with our friends at Sue Patrick.
Yeah, I love that place. Just park right in the front and walk in.
Can't
no parking garage, none of that.
You don't have to pay to park. And I'm so tired of paying to park. It's ridiculous. That's like, there are two things that will almost prevent me from going somewhere. I guess there are dire circumstances or sometimes where I just can't get out of it. But if I got to pay to park, I'm not interested. If I got to pay a cover to get in, I'm not interested. Like, there are too many good places in Central Texas where you can park for free, and too many good places in Central Texas where you can walk in for free, to where it doesn't feel worth it to go to a spot where you've got to pay for one of those two things. Double R.
I'm still taken aback when and it's usually with UFC, usually with the UFC events, to where I mean, we just told you how easy it is to call Tom McKay,
Mm.
where people go to these breast bars. And yeah, the breast bars are great, but I mean, I'm going to go and I don't have to pay to get in. Where people are paying $25 to go in there and watch a fight. Do it at home. So, I mean, bring somebody over, put them in a great outfit. I mean, yes, paying a cover charge. That's like the way of the dinosaur these days, man. You should just stroll in, just walk in.
Right. They'll pay for the food. They'll pay for the drinks. You don't need to charge. And look, a lot of people get suckered into it. There are plenty of places, and I won't call them out right now, but places in Austin that I could think of that still charge a cover, and feels like their parking lots are always packed. So I guess they know what they're doing. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I like how you went breast bar instead of restaurant. It really just sounds like you wanted to use the word breast. You didn't. You weren't going for the pun. You just wanted to mention those today. Well done.
The only time in the Austin area that I like seeing pay to park, and I'm still not going to do it, is when you have events out at Coda. And that's when the neighbors open up their fields and their driveways and stuff. They're the American way. They're making a little extra capital, $20 to park there and walk. Then I'm for it. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it. But that's the only time. Yeah, pay to park. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, sporting events. Sometimes again you can't avoid it, but just to go into a restaurant or to go to a bar or to go to a store or something like that, you don't have to worry about that at St. Patrick. And I feel like all of our sponsors, now that I'm looking at them, you don't have to worry about that with any of them. They'll happily welcome you into their store, into their place, and take your business. Make sure you give them your business, please and thank you. All right, Double R, Rodney Rodriguez filling in for the Buck today. Load management day for Bucky. He's all good. He's out the rest of the week doing, I guess, a staycation, but like a staycation at his home. He's not like going out to somewhere, a lake or Lost Pines or somewhere like that. He's just chilling at home. I'm not sure I want to know what he's getting into this week, but he'll be back on Monday.
Well, one thing's for sure. He's not washing clothes. He's not cooking. Because those of you that don't know, the Buck is not allowed on a Buck Off Thursday. Buck Off to the Buck. He's not allowed to use his own home appliances in his residence.
Is that a Buck Off to the Buck or a Buck Off to Mrs. Buck? Who do we blame?
Yeah. Well, he's not standing up for himself, you know, I guess, which I totally get it. I mean, it's probably not a bad thing, but I want to give a buck on to the Buck. I don't know the exact date, but I think we're approaching 26 years for him, sobriety. And that's, again, Bucky's just such a, should I say polarizing figure to a lot of people? I mean, Bucky walks in and he wins the room, Yeah. He's motivated so many people. He's helped so many people. He truly is a man of the people. He really is, whether he wants to admit it or not.
For sure. And man of the people, he's not working. He fits in great in Austin. That's how it works. But yeah, 26 years. Bucky doesn't even know the anniversary. He just knows it's sometime this week. So congrats to the Buck. A tremendous accomplishment for him. And yes, I will echo that sentiment. He has been an inspiration to a lot of folks on their sobriety journeys. And it's been really, really cool to witness over my time knowing him for sure. All right, diving back into the Texas football conversation. I asked you earlier in the show kind of what's on your mind, Double R, and I did ask about questions that you have for this Longhorn football team just over 3 weeks away from game one. And you talked about safety, but you also mentioned you felt pretty good about number one and number two, which kind of a couple of thoughts on that. Number one, it's pretty cool that I ask your biggest concern and you're like backup safety, right? Like that's kind of goes to show you how talented this roster is and the job that Steve Sarkisian and company have done putting things together to where it's like, you feel pretty good about starters at just about every position on the field. Now, for me, left guard is still a question mark. And obviously, there are some areas that I feel more confident about than others, but I think that's pretty cool that was where you went to first. And then I guess I'll ask, you feel good about safety too? It sounds like Derek Williams Jr. is kind of taking a stranglehold on that other starting spot opposite Jelani McDonald. Jelani McDonald, to me, is the best player in the secondary. I think he's one of the most underrated defensive players in the SEC. I know I've talked about that a lot. I'm sounding like a broken record at this point with him. Clearly, I'm a big fan of his work and expect big things from him this season. But you feel good about Derek Williams Jr., basically 2 years removed now from that ACL injury he suffered against Oklahoma in 2024. You feel like at least Texas is good enough with the starting secondary positions?
Yeah, I really do. I really do. And with that, overcoming that injury, I mean, you're not going to be 95, 99% coming back from something like that immediately. And look, how long does it take for that injury to heal, if you want to say heal? I think the concern that you have there, or the concern that I have with Derek Williams, is you just hope that is healed and that it doesn't rear its ugly head again. But I am confident with this group. I think this is, look, Jelani McDonald. I mean, that dude right there. I mean, he's the catalyst when it comes to everything happening back there. But this is a solid group. But it does go back to the depth part. It's like, who's going to step in, whether it's to give a guy a blow or whether it's coming in to take command of the position if needed. So everything looks good. I'm not going to say it's an exceptional group right now, but we're seeing progress. Like you're talking about this kid, he's impressed. He's impressed more than we thought he was going to, and that's what you want to see in these preseason practices.
Yeah, there's so much talent in that secondary. It's just a lot of new and a lot of guys changing positions and a lot of guys cross training, and obviously a new defensive scheme and a new safeties coach. I guess a new old defensive scheme and a new old safeties coach, because both Will Muschamp and Blake Gideon have been here in the past. But yeah, I mean, your number one corner is a transfer. Your number two corner is a true sophomore who only started 2.5 games last year. Your nickel guy is likely a true sophomore. And one of your starting safeties is a guy who didn't play very well last season. And again, coming off a serious knee procedure less than 2 years ago. So again, there's talent there. Texas recruits at a high level. We're talking about all 4 and 5 stars. And it's not just with the starters. I mean, Kobe Black making the position change from corner to safety, former 5-star. Xavier Filsme getting some work at safety, but also getting some work at the star position, former 5-star. Warren Roberson, former 4-star. There's a lot of talent there. It's just, okay, my concern with that secondary, and again, it's different coaches, so that will change things too. I just remember last year, like Manny Muhammad was Texas's number one corner. He missed the Florida game, and Florida got whatever it wanted offensively against Texas. Obviously, Manny Muhammad's not here. He's in the NFL right now. Whenever Michael Taff or Jelani McDonald missed time, it felt like when Texas had to use its depth in the secondary, those guys weren't good enough. Like they just weren't ready to handle the rigor of an SEC schedule. And Texas's schedule is very difficult again this season. So, like you said, injuries are going to happen. We're hoping Texas plays 16 or 17 games this season. You can't just have your quote-unquote starting 5 in your defensive backfield and that be enough. You got to make sure that those talented players that you have are actually ready to go this season against some of the elite quarterbacks and wideouts that the Longhorns are going to be playing every Saturday.
In all the secondary conversations or a lot of the safety conversations that I hear, and even me when I'm talking about them, I don't talk about Bo Masco a lot. And it's like, okay, that guy's there. We're talking about who's on the opposite side, and we don't even mention Bo Masco. I think that dude is going to have a huge season. I mean, I really do. Just kind of quiet, just kind of a quiet, laid-back approach. A senior in the program. I think Masco's a dude that's good. That's going to raise some eyebrows. I truly think he's going to make some noise in that secondary.
Yeah, I think he has to, right? I think Texas needs him to. Again, I expect him to be the number one corner for this team. And I agree with you. I don't think people are talking about him enough, but he's been solid. He's been reliable. And I think maybe a little better than advertised. I know I use that phrase with Cam Coleman, and I'm not saying Bo Masco is the type of player that Cam Coleman is, but Texas, I think, brought him in hoping he'd provide some experience, provide some stability on the back end, and just be an option in the rotation at corner. I don't know if they expected him to truly emerge as the best guy in that room, but it seems like he has done that, and he's battle tested. I know he played at Rutgers. Bucky always freaks out about that. And, people hear Rutgers, and it's like, why should I get excited about a transfer from there? Well, think about what conference Rutgers is in. They're in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And they play the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Oregons and the Indianas. You got to throw them in there now. Still getting used to that. He went up against those teams and receivers like that during his past couple of seasons. So he's battle tested with a lot of these transfers. And obviously with all of the freshmen, it's like, well, how can they handle the big step up in competition? There's no big step up in competition for Bo Masco because he's battle tested. Now in practice, there's a big step up in competition with the receivers he's seeing versus what he saw in Piscataway. But I just don't think the jump for that guy is going to be there at all. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm confident that he's going to become a fan favorite and a guy that Texas fans really trust by midway through the season.
Yeah, kind of. He feels he's really felt to me like kind of what you want. And again, I'm not insulting him here. Kind of feels to me like what you want in a really good backup quarterback. Kind of one of those dudes to where it's like, okay, you've got that guy, and you know he's going to make plays. We mentioned the maturity. We mentioned all of that. The big factor that you just dropped right there. Look at what he's practicing against. I mean, we've heard that in the 2005. Texas teams and so forth when this program was so elite to where you had steel versus steel or whatever that is, ones versus ones, that practice a lot of times was tougher than some games.
Yeah,
that's kind of what you're getting to again. And in a secondary that does have some question marks, that does need improvement. I love the Blake Gideon hire. I mean, I think that's a guy that you bring back in. Hey man, last year, I mean, we love the old coach, but I feel a lot better with this guy coming in. I think it just at a mindset level and with Will Muschamp to make these guys iron sharpening iron, I think is what I'm trying to say.
There it is.
That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing with this. I have a lot of confidence in this secondary at this point.
Yeah, again, like you said, they're going up against elite receivers every single day. I think the wide receiver room is the biggest strength on this Texas roster. I think you could argue it's the deepest wide receiver room in the country. So for all of these DBs, not just the guys running with the ones, but the guys running with the twos and the threes. I mean, Khalil Lockett is deep on the depth chart. That guy was the number 2 wide receiver in the country last year. Dalen McCutcheon, highly touted guy. Jermaine Bishop, 5-star talent, obviously a true freshman on this Texas roster. So, yeah, everybody is getting tested, and there will be Saturday. Look, I mean, there are a couple of teams. Ohio State has a roster that can match Texas. LSU's got a bunch of talent on their team. Pains me to say anything nice about Oklahoma, but that's a talented roster too. Ole Miss made it to the CFP semifinals last year. Like, there's going to be some teams that can at least get close to Texas from a talent standpoint, but there's nobody on this schedule, even Ohio State, and there's nobody in the country should Texas get to the playoff and have to play a team like Oregon, or they, end up playing Georgia in the SEC championship. There's no team where the talent gap is going to be ridiculous to where Texas just won't be prepared because they haven't seen anything like that. This is a talented roster at so many different spots, and it's not just the ones. Again, you got 2s and 3s that I think are capable of starting on a lot of Power 4 teams around college football. That's huge right now, and Sark's made a big point of emphasis on physicality and toughness in practice so far to this point. He was doing that even before the pads came on. He knows the talent's there, but he's like, we're not just going to win on sheer talent alone. We got to make sure we're physical. We got to make sure we're tough. We got to make sure we can bring the intensity to who we're playing against for 60 minutes every single week. I like that mindset. To me, that's Steve Sarkisian saying, okay, we weren't physical enough last year. We weren't tough enough last year, and that's why we didn't get to the CFP. So it's the combination of talent, but also like the mindset and the mentality that starts at the top with this head coach that is permeating down to this team that hopefully gets Texas where we all want it to go.
Everybody on this team, including the coaching staff, are playing or working with a chip on their shoulder, and you can feel it. And I, for one, say it's about damn time, because that still is a lot of the MO of the Texas Longhorn football team around the country, that they're soft, that you can't beat Georgia, you can't get yourself back into the playoff, you can't win a playoff game, whatever you. I mean, I hear it from a lot of people. Oh, they're soft. They've been soft forever. And that's never going to change, because of the dollars, because of the tea sippers. I mean, whatever that really is that. But I mean, and it started way before camp to where these guys, that they're chirping at each other. Steve Sarkisian is at times a little controversial. And like we said, putting his foot in their tail. And that's what it takes for. I think a lot of that is Will Muschamp, BK. I mean, I think that you bring that dude in, and the people that you work with, they will rub off on you. The people you associate with, you will take those traits. And as a football coach, as the CEO of the Texas Longhorn football program, that's not a bad trait to have, is to want to be aggressive.
Right. I'm with you on that. Now, it's an all-in year. I know Steve Sarkisian hasn't used that verbiage in particular, but everybody else around him has, and I think rightfully so. But actions speak louder than words. The actions that Steve Sarkisian made this offseason, he realizes what he has at quarterback. He realizes what he has at edge rusher with Colin Simmons. He realizes what he has at left tackle with Trevor Gooseby. He realizes the talent that's on this team. And he went after it again in the portal and with the coaching staff. So it's why we're all excited. Obviously, we've got to see, but I like that mindset. Chip on your shoulder. I'm always tired. So many people say whenever Texas plays a close game or just at any point, it's Texas. Texas is going to get everyone's best shot. Well, why doesn't everyone else get Texas's best shot? Why is it always, Texas has to get everyone's best shot? To hell with that. Teams try every Saturday. Teams are going to bring their best shot. It's only 12 games. I'm so tired of that. And it's a statement that's been going on forever. It almost feels like an excuse for Texas when they don't play well. It's, we're Texas. We're going to get their best shot. So that's why it was hard to hell with that. You give your best shot every week. You bring it to the other team. You set the tone. I want to see more of that this year. Stop being the hunted and relish and, everybody wants to be. Be the freaking hunter, okay? Be the hunter this year. And I hope that's the mindset that Texas brings to every game. Obviously, week 2, I know it's at home. I expect Texas to be favored, but you got to be the hunter in that game. You've got to bring it. You've got to set the tone early in some of these games that you're playing against. To hell with you getting everybody's best shot. Make their fan bases say, it's Texas. That means we're going to get their best shot every single week.
Yeah. You want them fearing you coming in. You don't want them, you don't want your opponent amped up, ready to give you the best that they have. You want them to see Texas on that schedule and think, oh man, Saturday's going to be a long afternoon. Saturday's going to be a long night because they're coming in here to pummel us. That's the mindset. That's a mindset that this program needs to have. And to the Ohio State conversation, I was talking to some people last week in Iowa, Ohio State fan. They had all their gear on,
God.
And get this, no, I'm like, okay, are you going to take us this year? And they're like, I don't think so. The guy told me, again, maybe he's using reverse psychiatry on me or something, but he's like, Texas is better top to bottom than Ohio State. He said they're going to lose by 10.
Wow. Okay. I like that.
It's Ohio State guy. What's
he doing in Iowa?
A NASCAR race, man.
I know. But like, why isn't he an Iowa guy or an Iowa State guy? They're not good enough for him. He's got a bandwagon to the Buckeyes. Come on.
I guess so. Yeah, kind of one. Maybe he grew up there, or maybe he's one of those guys where a few years ago he was an Oregon fan, and before that he was an Alabama fan. Yeah, those fans.
Right.
Those fans.
He's one of those people, huh? Yeah, he's Cowboys and the Yankees fan too. I'm sure he's one of those guys. Man. So we'll take your thoughts. Go with the nobody believed in us. Hey, Kirby Smart does it, and it seemingly works out every single year. He finds a way to motivate his guys and give them a freaking boulder on their shoulders when they go into every single game. I don't believe that that's a true Ohio State fan that you encountered, because that's not – some fan bases are like that where they're just a little pessimistic and they don't think their team's going to win, but that ain't any Ohio State fan that I've ever met. I mean, Ohio State could be like really bad and they would still say, oh no, we're going to kick your ass. We're going to go into Austin and beat you. We don't care what you have. We're going to win that game. I don't know. This must have been a plant or something here. I don't think this was a real Buckeye fan.
Yeah, let's trick the Mexican in Iowa. Maybe that's what they were trying to do to me. But I mean, he still said they need to fire the coach. So that so there you go. That's an Ohio State fan right there. He's like, need to fire the coach. We need a new coach. That's partly one of the reasons he said Texas was better than Ohio State.
That checks out. You know what? You say that he wanted Ryan Day to be fired. Then okay, now I believe that it's in Ohio State. I mean, after that guy won the national championship, I felt like they wanted him fired. And they go one full season without winning a title, and Ryan Day is not good enough. It's absolutely insane. You think Texas fans are crazy with the expectations. feel like if Steve Sarkisian wins a natty this year, there's not going to be anybody calling for his job anytime soon. And Ryan Day, it's like he won one, and 2 weeks later, why do we have this guy?
Yeah, get rid of this guy.
Like, he's not the reason we won. Like, we don't need him here. Go get somebody else. That's a true Ohio State fan right there. It's a different breed for sure.
Remember they had that lady put him in the golf cart and run into a wall trying to get rid of him. Yeah, right after the win. Remember they win and they're trying to like get rid of him there in his celebration. But I do want to mention right quick with the secondary. Yeah. With the secondary, I mean, we were talking about Cam Coleman. Imagine if we had Jonah Williams doing those things on the other side.
Oh man,
when we were talking about Cam Coleman and being surprised how he's even better than expected, and again with Jonah Williams, it's like I really want this dude to make an impact. I really want this dude to make it. Does he want to? When people are questioning, does he want to make it? Well, hell yeah, he wants to make an impact, but. Right. Man, it's just not there. It's just not there.
It's just crazy to me. Like Jonah Williams is a victim of his own success. Mm-hmm. By that I mean he's a victim of the fact that he is a successful athlete in two different sports. Because I think about the way Longhorn fans are talking about some other highly touted recruits in the class of 2025, guys going into their second seasons on the 40 acres, like Justice Terry. The talker camp. Everyone's raving about it. No one was mad at Justice Terry, even though he didn't play that much last year. Lance Jackson going into his second year, former 5-star. No one's mad at Lance Jackson for not playing a ton in his freshman year. And I know those aren't apples to apples comparisons, but it's just because Jonah Williams has also played 2 baseball seasons in addition to his 1 football season, and he's dealt with injuries. It's this guy sucks. He's awful. What a waste of money. Where he's not the only 5-star or highly touted guy going into his second year that hasn't done a whole lot yet. You got to give these guys time. And it's a good thing that Texas's roster is so good that you don't need to rely on those guys. You don't need to rush them right away to make an impact. Khalil Lockett's another example. No one's like trying to get Khalil Lockett out of town. He's a 5-star who probably did less than Jonah Williams last year in his first season playing football. So, yeah, that's the discourse around him. It's annoying to me. He's still got to prove it. I'm not guaranteeing anything, and I agree. What a huge boost that would be to this Texas defense if he can be close to the player that he was in high school. But, yeah, it's just I don't know, man. I'm getting annoyed by some of the stuff that I'm seeing with Jonah Williams. People talk about him like he's Perry Ellis and like an 18th year player in college. Give this guy the same amount of time that you're giving everybody else, please. I don't feel like I'm asking for too much.
Yeah, and it's you just hope, or I hope, that at some point this season that exactly what you're saying, that he becomes a contributor, that he does something that they can find a place for him. I mean, in a perfect scenario, this secondary blossoms so much that what do you do with him? That's a good problem to have, but at the same time, you don't want that to happen because that potential and that ability is there. It's just a matter of how do you get that out and how do you utilize it on the field. And the thing it does, well, he just wants to play baseball. I mean, I'm sure he wants to do both.
Yeah, he does.
But it's like you just wait for that to happen. You said it. I mean, he's really good at 2 different sports. That's a hell of a problem to have.
And people are mad at him for that. That's
right.
That's kind of what it's become here. So anyways, I agree. He'd be huge. He raises the ceiling of this defense. But again, okay, maybe he plays a little more this year, but he's not expected to be a starting safety. But hopefully we get to see some flashes of him. I think he's going to be in the safety rotation as long as he is healthy. And 6'3", over 200 pounds, big, long, rangy, physical, fast. But we all have to see it a little more consistently this year. There's no doubt. All right, we'll take your thoughts. We're going to chop it up with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. We'll go around the conference, get some big storylines surrounding SEC football. Got to ask CP about this Jaden Daniels situation as well. Former LSU Tiger suing LSU. He's not very happy with what's going on at his alma mater. But before we chop it up with Chris Phillips for our weekly conversation, get to a few more sponsor shout outs, starting with our friends at the Altstadt Brewery. I miss my Altstadt beer, man. I really do. I'm too far away for my Altstadt mini fridge to feel comfortable. Something ain't right. My balance, my equilibrium is off. I'm too far away from Altstadt. I love the stuff. And look, most of you are close enough to a bar, a restaurant, a liquor store, a grocery store that sells Altstadt beer. So you don't have to be like me. You can go get you some today, stock up your fridge, and get ready for the season. Preseason football returns tonight. If you're an addict like me, you're going to be watching that. You're probably going to need a beer to watch some of these third and fourth and fifth stringers that you're going to see over these next few days. For your tailgates, for your watch parties, preseason, regular season, you know the deal. You need a great beer to accompany your football watching. Altstadt is my choice. Tons of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. If you've tried it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, just one sip and you won't go back to the other beers you've been drinking in the past. It's the official beer of BK. Should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets. And also some love to Hat Creek Burger Company. Yeah, that's a good combo right there. A Hat Creek Burger, some Altstadt beer. The Buck always talks about his Hat Creek Burger love. Double R, I know the type of food you eat. I know you've downed a Hat Creek Burger or 12 in your time, my man.
In one sitting.
Yeah, man. It's so good. It's so good. The burgers, the fries are fantastic. They've got the chicken sandwiches. They've got the nuggies that the Buck talks about. The Bacon Royale in the Southwest. Those are my two favorite burgers at Hat Creek. But they got seasonal specials. They're trying out new things all the time. The milkshakes are fantastic. Of course, it's fun for the whole family, too. They've got the playscapes at all of their locations. You can literally just plop down. You can get some work done. You can watch some TV. You can do whatever. Let the kids run around on the playscape. You enjoy a nice meal and just chill for a little bit. That's what Hat Creek Burger is all about. HatCreekBurgers.com, their website to find a location near you. Shout out to Hat Creek Burger Company and also to CentexTickets.com as well. The place to go to get your Texas football tickets this season. And it's not just Texas football, Cowboys games, Texans games, you Aggie fans out there. Maybe you want to go to Kyle Field and root against Texas A&M on a random Saturday. Why not? The world is your oyster at CentexTickets.com because you can buy seats to any game that you want to go to all season long. And it's not just football. It's any sport. It's concerts. It's comedy shows. It's Broadway shows, festivals, you name it. They've got it all online at CentexTickets.com. Just log on from your phone or computer. And don't forget to use the promo code CENTEX10. If you type that in at checkout, you are going to get 10% off of any ticket purchase from our great friends at CentexTickets.com.
Yeah, and you know when A&M plays Texas, they're going to bring their best. They're going to bring their best against Texas.
Oh, it ain't going to matter.
That's right.
They bring their best against Texas every year, and it doesn't matter. God, the last 2 years have been so fun, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, especially the game obviously the game last year was fun. I was at that game in DKR TMS on Black Friday, and you've got A&M at 11-0 going for the undefeated season, going for a spot in the SEC championship game, and to have that game at home and to just take their dreams when they were so confident going in. The Aggies were favored going into that game, and to just snatch their hopes of winning a conference title in that perfect season. It was fantastic right there. But 2 years ago, maybe in part it's because of the fact that it was the first game after the long hiatus, just doing that to them at their place and all those weirdos leaving them unhappy. You know, they kiss after every touchdown. They only scored one touchdown, and it was a defensive touchdown. The milkmen weren't cheering much. The meat judgers weren't judging much. That was a beautiful night, man. That's what I'm not going to forget anytime soon.
I tell you, the last 2 years, I mean, yeah, you again, these are big yeahs, but no SEC championship, no national championship, but man, Texas has had their way with A&M and OU.
Yeah, throw Arkansas in there too. Yeah, you could throw all three of the biggest rivals, right? Texas 6-0 against those three teams since joining the SEC. So that helps Steve Sarkisian, and that obviously helps mitigate some of the pain of the 2025 year. Again, an unsuccessful 2025 season. I'm not arguing otherwise, but sweeping your rivals every single season, never a bad thing. That's going to keep you in the good graces of your fan base if you could pull that off as a head coach for sure. All right, see him in the waiting room. Normally he joins us on Tuesday, but no show for us on Tuesday, so he was kind enough to flip the schedule a little bit. one of our favorites, Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered, hanging out with us, talking ball, getting ready as we continue the countdown to week 1 of the college football season. CP, what's going on, man? How we doing?
Guys, what's going on? I appreciate you having me. Yeah, it's waking up to the news down in Baton Rouge. There's never a dull moment with the Jaden Daniels stuff. I crashed early last night, believe it or not. So, yeah, I woke up and saw that. And, again, I guess we shouldn't be surprised because it's always chaos down there. But, no, everything's good, man. Really excited. Love seeing the reports coming out of fall camp. Been talking to a lot of people, obviously, trying to get intel and updates and what have you. But, now, stoked for kickoff, man. We're somebody put it to me brilliantly yesterday where we're at the point you can smell the bacon cooking. It's not quite time to eat yet, but you can smell the bacon. So, yeah, really excited, man. Really pumped. This is kind of the time of year, about 2 or 3 weeks to kick where, I know probably for you guys too, but I know for me, I start to get like really, really antsy, because we're starting to have kind of the same conversations again. And you're like, man, just get me to a game, So we do have some preseason NFL for those who are into that. But, yeah, really, really pumped even for week 0, man. I'm just pumped to have some college football back on TV.
Amen. Well, I know, CP, you're all about talking ball, but since you brought up the Jaden Daniels situation, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Look, you've got a lot of ties to Baton Rouge and the Cajun Crazies, and you go down there a lot. And like you said, there's always something going on with LSU football. Jaden Daniels, Heisman winner, obviously quarterback with the Washington Commanders in the NFL, not happy with LSU, saying they can no longer use his name, image, and likeness because they gave his old jersey number away to somebody. I mean, what are we doing here? Is this LSU's problem, or is this Jaden Daniels just going overboard, and this is more of a bad look for him than anything else?
Well, I think the thing that we can all agree on, no matter whose side you on or who you believe is right, is the thing we can all agree on is the better way to handle this was not publicly. I don't think it's a good look on anybody to bring it to public light, the Jaden Daniels camp, nor LSU. I think a lot of the blame rests at the feet of Brian Kelly, honestly, because he was the one that promised DJ Pickett the number 5 number to a point to where I have been told and I've heard that it was in his contract that he was going to get number 5. I see where Jaden Daniels is coming from. Joe Burrow's 9, for example, has not been worn since Joe Burrow left. And I think he puts himself, even though they didn't go undefeated and win a national title, he puts himself in that same light because he won a Heisman Trophy, and I totally get it. So it almost kind of brings up the dilemma, guys, of do you believe in retiring numbers? I think retiring jerseys is probably a lot more effective because if you believe that you're the program that you are, at some point you might run out of numbers. You know what I mean? Like if you're that great of a program at some point, that potentially could happen. So I think retiring jerseys is probably the more effective means of going about it, but yeah, just the number one takeaway for me is just everybody's, at least him, airing out the dirty laundry. I think that would have been much better done behind closed doors. Yeah, can't use I think what's crazy, can't use his name, image, or likeness. So do they have to wipe all images of him from the stadium and from the campus? And you know what I mean? How deep does this go? So it's a shame. It's a shame because I know he was a portal guy but I'm sure he loves LSU deep down. I'm sure a lot of this is his camp advising him to do this. I've heard a lot about his mom being a little bit overboard, if you will. I mean, we've seen it, like training camp and during the NFL season, his mom going a little bit overboard, if you will. But I don't think either one of them really want this, So it's a shame because I've, not with this specific instance, but I have heard in others. I used to, at a point, BK, I used to have a lot of former players on my show. And it's always fascinating to me to hear the experiences of some of your former players, because some of your former players, or some of your favorite players, I should say, that are former players, they did not have the experience at your favorite school that you would think they have. And I'm talking about guys who are really, really good, that you would think that ran the campus or what have you. It's not the same for everybody. Some people don't have as rosy an experience as you think. So I don't know. It's really interesting. You hate that it came out publicly, but again, there's always just some drama, it seems like, happening down in Baton Rouge. Here's the deal. This isn't Lane Kiffin's problem,
right?
Really. This has nothing to do with him. So it's a Jaden Daniels LSU thing. I mean, if I'm DJ Pickett, I mean, I think I probably still wear the number. I mean, granted, then again, though, I would not want to wear a number I did not have the blessing to wear. It'd be like going to Auburn and wearing number 1. If Cam Newton himself does not give me the blessing, I mean, he's talked about it on his podcast. Maybe you guys have heard, but he's been asked, like, would you be okay with another player wearing number 1? He's like, absolutely not, in a lot more colorful language than I just said it. Like, these players do take that personally.
Yep.
Like, they take that very personally. So yeah, it's wild to say the least, but it needs to be handled behind closed doors. I think that's the number one thing.
Absolutely.
Double R, you got one?
Yeah. So CP, talking about drama, preseason drama and so forth. Now that we hear that bacon sizzling, a little bit that you're talking about, a lot of the conversations, again, irrelevant, but they're still talking points. I'd love to get your insight, being so honed in across the conference. The SEC isn't what it used to be. Yeah, there's some good teams in there, but their time has passed. It just means more, does it? The Big Ten's winning all the championships. Kind of what's the thought across the landscape with all that juggernaut going back and forth?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think from like a player and a coach perspective, I don't think necessarily I don't think Steve Sarkisian is trying to win one for the badge. I think he's trying to win one for Texas and win one for himself. Yep. Now, for the badge is kind of an afterthought. That's great. Like, that they can be the one. I think whoever does it next can be the ones that say, like, hey, we stopped the bleeding, if you will. Like, I think they'll probably take some pride in that. But realistically, this is more of a like media and fan perspective talking point. But it is a real talking point, to your point, Rodney. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think if you're the SEC, you just got to go win the big game, right? I mean, it is something that, there's pressure on the conference. I think early on, right? There's pressure on that Texas-Ohio State game. There's pressure on that Oklahoma-Michigan game. Those are the two big ones, right? I think the other one I'm thinking about, Mississippi State, Minnesota, funny enough, but another SEC Big Ten. But like those two that I mentioned, those are the big ones that you look at and that'll set the tone, it feels like, early on, I think the SEC is the best conference in the country, top to bottom. I think the Big Ten right now has the better top tier. And I think they've just shown that, I mean, I don't even know how you can argue that when the Big Ten, then their top tier is getting to the national championship and winning it. So there's definitely pressure around the league from, again, the media, the fan base perspective. I don't think if you went to each individual fall camp and polled players and coaches, like, they obviously know about it. I don't think it's their number one driving force until they probably get head to head. Like, I think wanting to prove a point, because some guys choose schools based off what conference they're in. That weighs a lot in their decision. I mean, Texas would know firsthand going from Big 12 to SEC, the impact that has on, guys wanting to come to your school, or just maybe in the way they view it. But yeah, there's pressure across the league for sure. And it's not just, here's the deal, Rodney. It's not even just not winning 3 straight. It's not even making the game.
Not making it. Yep.
That's the real kicker here. That's the thing that I think really, that's like the knife is inserted in it, and that's what twists it, So, I mean, listen, I think Georgia and Texas are the SEC's best shot. I think after that, maybe Oklahoma could make a run, A&M could make a run, Ole Miss could make a run, God forbid LSU. But, like, I think Georgia and Texas are clearly defined as the top tier in the SEC. And then there's a bunch, like, 5-6 schools that, maybe somebody could pop off. But yeah, there's pressure. There's pressure, no doubt, for the SEC to, at minimum, get back to that game.
Yeah. Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered joining us here on Bucky and BK. I saw your college football playoff projections that y'all released on SECU a couple of days ago, and you did have Georgia winning the national championship. Now, Cole Thompson, who I've always said is much smarter and better looking than you, Chris, had Texas winning the national championship. So we're Team Cole on this one, but would love to get your thoughts. Look, man, they don't need a lot of explanation. We know how good Kirby Smart is. He's won 2 of these things. It's Georgia. But why did you ultimately decide on the Bulldogs bringing home the national championship here in 2026?
Yeah, I will say, BK, Cole very well might be better looking than me and smarter than me, but he is shorter than me, and nothing will ever change. So, that it is what it is. No, it's no, to your point, it's funny enough, I had Texas winning it all last year. So maybe it's a little bit of an overcorrection for me, if you would. I mean, I still have them obviously in the playoff, and funny enough, I have them in the quarterfinal matching up against Ohio State again, and Ohio State winning this time. So, because I got Texas in the regular season. getting them. So that would be a really interesting showdown, though, if we got that game again. And if Texas, I mean, if you want to just play hypotheticals, in my bracket, if Texas won, we'd get Georgia, Texas again. So, I mean, pick your poison, pick your game, whatever. But yeah, I mean, listen, I have been singing the praises of this Georgia team all offseason. I think Kirby Smart and company run too good of a program, too tight of a ship not to get one at some point. I don't think it's a matter of if. I think it's a matter of when. With Georgia, first off, offensively, I think they're going to bully people in the trenches. Like, I think they're going to be able to run the football down people's throat. That's what they pride themselves on. That's what they hang their hat on. There was a graphic 4 years ago, whatever, of like all these crazy offensive linemen, Georgia signing, just the sheer size and physicality. All those guys are like sophomores and juniors now. So, yeah, they are stacked in the trenches. I think Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens will be the bell cow backs, and they'll have monster seasons. I think Gunnar Stockton's a wildly underappreciated quarterback in this league. He may not be Arch Manning or Trinidad Chambliss, but he might be the best leader and the toughest quarterback in the country. There's nobody more willing to get knocked up or knocked in the face, knocked in the jaw, and pop up from a hit than Gunnar Stockton is. And I think the numbers aren't necessarily gaudy or flashy, but he does exactly what Mike Bobo and them need him to do in that offense, right? He was I think he was the most efficient quarterback last year, 70% completion percentage, which we really don't see anymore. The wide receiver position's a question for now from the standpoint of who are the proven commodities. I don't think it's a question from talent perspective. All right, I think somebody will emerge. I think they've got enough weapons there to where they'll be fine. Also, the tight end room's the best in college football. I mean, it's a weapon for them, and it goes far beyond Lawson Lucky. And then I think defensively, guys, you could argue best linebacking core in the country. Secondary is a year older. This was a bunch of young guys last year that went baptism by fire. And you remember they struggled early on. I don't even know if it was so much them as it was the pass rush. Now, the pass rush is a question because of what they did a season ago. But with Kirby Smart, guys, they are not going to let an issue linger from one season to the next. I fully expect Georgia to be near the top of the SEC in sacks. Like, there's just no way in my mind. Like, they've been making that a point of emphasis. They have. So I think they'll be much improved. We can debate on exactly what that means, but I do think they will be much improved. And guys, they have a schedule conducive to having a big season. I mean, per the FBI, how much stock you put in that, they've got the easiest SEC schedule. Now, it still ranks like top 20, top 25 toughest in the country, but they have a pretty manageable path, all things considered, right? They don't have to play Texas. They'd only get them in the SEC title. So, I think Georgia's a program set to break out one of these years, and they're the ones that I trust the most. That's what it comes down to. I think Texas is a more talented team, but I trust Georgia the most in the SEC.
Yeah. CP, with these teams that we're talking about and who can break out, obviously, like you said, I'm with you. Georgia and Texas are kind of at the top right there. That I feel that's the meat on the bone. And I know you talked about this prior, but one of the most intriguing SEC teams to me is Ole Miss. In the afterglow of everything that happened last year, getting to the playoff, Trinidad Chambliss is coming back, but just with everything there, I know you talked about it to where it could be playoffs or it could be 7-5. Kind of expand on that a little bit, because this is going to be pretty interesting to watch how this plays out for the Rebels.
Yeah, Rodney, you bring that up, and I'm starting to lean more into that as we get closer to kickoff. That I really do think it's probably going to go one or two ways. Like it's going to. They're going to hit the ground running, and Chambliss and Lacey are going to be just like they were last year, and the defensive pieces are going to click off the rip, and they're going to find guys on the outside, to replace all that production they lost. And, they're going to skirt right back to the college football playoff, right? I think week 3 could go a long way in determining that. Do they beat LSU? If they do, it kind of jump starts their season. They go on their way. I mean, I had them in my preseason projections going 9-3 and making the college football playoff, being that 4th and final team. And I do think this is the season that we get a 9-3 team in. On the flip side, I think if it goes south, it could go south in a hurry. Let's say guys, I don't think week 1 is like a kick-in against Louisville. I certainly don't think so. God forbid, what if they lost that game? But week 3, you lose to LSU, maybe things, maybe morale is shot, you sends you down a little downward spiral. But maybe that Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr., maybe the loss is significant. Maybe Trinidad Chambliss and Kawhi. Think about this. Had I told you this time last year that Lenoris Sellers was going to look the way he looked last year, you'd have called me crazy. What if Trinidad Chambliss has a similar slide? Maybe not even to that level, but like a similar slide where it's like, he just ain't got the juice this year, man. The magic's just kind of gone. And they go, I think that could lead to a 6-6, 7-5 season. They're one of the ones I feel very uneasy about as we get closer to kickoff, admittedly. And maybe it's logo bias. Maybe it's because they're Ole Miss, and we're just kind of you're like, oh, they're Ole Miss. Can they really keep it going?
Yeah.
I tend to be in the camp, though. I will have to see it to believe it, that Trinidad Chambliss and Kawan Lacey are just going to forget how to play football as good as they were last year. Now, again, they got to replace over 3,000 yards receiving from a season ago that they lost. That's pretty significant. But I know they've got some playmakers, some guys on the outside they're pretty excited about. Again, you have the best backfield in college football with Lacey and Chambliss. And then defensively, this is Pete Golding's bread and butter. I like a lot of the pieces they brought in, on the defensive side of the portal. And they got some guys back in their front seven that are really, really solid. So, yeah, they feel very boom or bust this year. It's a fascinating, and it's why the LSU Ole Miss dilemma is going to be one of the top storylines of the season. But it's going to be a fascinating watch to see which direction Ole Miss goes this season.
Yeah, it's the Rodney, Terry, Chris Beard situation almost with Texas basketball. That's what Ole Miss football is doing, and they're hoping for better results than what Texas basketball got a couple of years ago. Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered joining us here on Bucky and BK. CP, I've got to commend you, man. I did say Cole's smarter than you, but I might have to take that back because you have 4 teams from the SEC qualifying for your 12-team CFP. You've got Texas in there. You've got the aforementioned Georgia Bulldogs. You've got Ole Miss. You've got Alabama. You left out Oklahoma and Texas A&M. Congratulations on that, but also would like for you to expound on your genius. People need to know just how smart you are. So why a lot of other people are picking one or both of those teams to get back into the playoff. Obviously, they both reached it last year. Why are you maybe a little more bearish on those 2 squads than others?
Well, BK, not to burst your bubble, but, it's funny. I've actually got the inverse of last year where, Texas beat their arch rival, but their arch rival went to the playoff. I actually have Oklahoma winning Red River. And then it's Texas that goes to – well, you telling me you wouldn't trade a loss in that game to go to the playoff? Wouldn't you have rather been in the playoff last year?
Yeah.
As much fun as it was.
Man, that's a good question because it's like making the playoff is one thing, but if you told me that
Texas, it is like how far do you go? If you're going to go one and done in the playoff, then give me the rivalry.
That's where I'm at. Like if you're telling me Texas would have blown a 17-0 lead to Alabama at home and become the first team ever to lose a home playoff game, then no, give me the Red River win over that for sure.
And I'll say on that Red River game, that one is admittedly, I just feel like you have to flip a coin because what I learned in person last year was you just never know. I remember going in that game last year thinking I couldn't explain to you why Texas is favored. I didn't get it. And the rest is history. So, no, in all seriousness, though, Georgia, Texas, pretty self-explanatory. Those are the 2 that I have in the SEC championship game. I do have Texas losing 2 games, one to Oklahoma, one to LSU on the road later in the year. Could they flip one of those? Certainly. I think at minimum Texas is a 10-win team, and I do think they'll be in Atlanta. I've got Georgia, Texas again in Atlanta. I got Georgia winning, so I've got them obviously getting the bye. Texas, I think I have as the 6th seed. And then you mentioned the other 2, Alabama and Ole Miss. I think, isn't it weird that we're in a place right now where saying Alabama is going to go to the college football playoff is a hot take?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild to me. I think Bama's much better than people are giving credit for. I think the way the season – listen, people remember how you start and how you finish. They don't remember a whole lot in the middle. That goes for anything in life, right? So all that good that Bama did in the middle of the season last year when they won 7 straight, I think 4 of them were against like top – I don't know if they were top 10, but top 15. I don't know. Ranked opponents, very highly ranked opponents. Nobody remembers that. They remember the Florida State game to start last season, and they remember the SEC championship and the Indiana game. They don't even remember the Oklahoma game, the playoff game. I heard Paul Feinbaum say something so crazy where he essentially said the loss to Indiana, it wipes away the playoff win. I'm like, that is not how that works. Like, you can't take away a W because I know they got their doors blown off, but like, again, it just doesn't work that way. So when it comes to Alabama, guys, they're still loaded with talent, right? Offensive line's a major question mark. Running game is a major question mark. I'm not saying it isn't. I think Keelan Russell could be an upgrade at quarterback, believe it or not. I like Ty Simpson a lot, but I think Keelan Russell can do some things, some really special things, especially with his legs. I think he could assist that running game significantly. And I do think he's going to be the one, by the way, that wins that starting job. I think Ryan Coleman-Williams is going to revert back to being Ryan Coleman-Williams. I do not see him having another year like last year. I think Lottie Brooks on the outside, who broke out in that Oklahoma playoff game, I think is one that we're going to see more of him this season. And then defensively, guys, they're going to have one of the best defenses in the SEC, right? Yanze Pierre is back. Their linebacking core is extremely deep. Secondary, you could argue, is the best in college football, right? They were like a Notre Dame. So, and guys, I think the way their schedule plays out, I think is a really big deal, right? They open up with East Carolina. We should not have another Florida State situation. But they've got ECU out the gate. Week 2 at Kentucky is very interesting. I will say that. But they're far more talented than Kentucky. Year 1 of Will Stein. They've got Mississippi State. They're far more talented. They got Florida State, revenge spot. They're far more talented. I mean, FSU's counting down the days like fire Mike Norvell. And they got South Carolina, who's giving them trouble. But again, they're far more talented than the Gamecocks, and they've got them at home. So you have this 5-game stretch before you take on Georgia in the middle of October to really kind of iron some things out, get Keelan Russell's feet wet, right? Like get him acclimated up to speed, whatever. Like it's kind of like this, I hate to call it like a landing stretch because that's such an insult to these teams, but Bama off sheer talent alone should win all 5 of these games, right? So like you have a nice start to the season to kind of ramp up, and then you get in that Georgia game, and then you get in the heart of SEC play because you do have Georgia, you do have LSU, you do have Texas A&M. Like you've got some really you got Tennessee on the road. Like you've got some difficult showdowns later. But I think it sets up well. And yeah, I think, when I went through the schedule, I felt like this was a 10-2 team. So having Alabama in for me made sense. We talked about Ole Miss. I don't really need to go in much more detail there. I just trust Trinidad Chambliss, Kawan Lacey. But yeah, Bama's the hot take one. But I still think Kalen DeBoer is not a bad football coach. He still knows how to coach football. They're still loaded with talent. They know it's a big year. I am very curious to see, does it help them, this disrespect, having the chip on the shoulder, everyone's doubting us mentality versus Bama being the center of the college football universe. I wonder, maybe it shouldn't take that, but I wonder how that affects how they go into this season.
Yeah. One more double R?
Yeah, actually, I've got a plain and simple question for you, Chris. Would you punch your best friend in the face to guarantee your team a national championship?
I would. Listen, if I change this question, I got a buddy of mine that, believe it or not, he's a bigger NFL fan than college fan. And he's a fan of the Atlanta Falcons. Pretty self-explanatory there.
Sorry.
Never won a Super Bowl. He was at the Super Bowl when they were 28-3. He was at that one in person. I remember he texted me and said, "Thank goodness I didn't sit in the upper deck because otherwise I'd jump." So he is one that he would, if I changed the question to for the Falcons to win a Super Bowl, if you had to punch me in the face, it'd be no question. Yeah, that is one. Funny enough, I'll admit to you, that's one for the last 3 years. Every time we get to this time of year, we're kind of killing time, whatever, I'll throw that on the timeline, and it always just people always have a very strong reaction. Everybody loves to tag their buddies. Like, bro, you'd get sucker punched. Yeah. I had the funniest reply I've seen. I had a Florida fan reply and say, "I would strangle my grandma with my bare hands for a 10-win season."
God.
I was like, that went to a really dark place, but I respect it. Just means more, I guess.
Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, would y'all punch your best friend for a Texas title?
Oh, 100%.
Of course.
Yeah. I like the ones that my best friend would be pissed if he didn't do it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I would take a punch for –
Yeah.
No, I was like, one of the guys we work with on the station is Mark Henry, world's strongest man. And I think I'd take a punch from him for a national title. Now, my face probably won't work after that and probably won't look the same, but I think it's worth it. Win a natty? You kidding me?
Yo,
Sign me
side
up.
note, by the way, guys, side note, I think it comes out later this month. Y'all pumped for that Vince Young documentary? When does that come out? Like August 25th?
Yes, exactly.
That
Yeah,
looks
coming
pretty
to
good.
Netflix. Yeah, the Untold, the testimony of Vince Young, coming out later this
He
month.
had a very interesting career, especially like the NFL side. I think everybody thought, including myself, he was going to be like the next thing in the NFL. But
I'm curious how that story is told, because, is it a very pro VY piece, or is it, does it get into everything? Because some of his failures in the NFL were on him, and I think he would admit that. So I don't know. Sometimes with these documentaries, they're fluff pieces a little bit. They don't.
Well,
hit
you remember Swamp Kings, right? Like
Exactly.
it didn't get it all in the details of, but whatever.
We'll see.
Whatever.
We'll see. But Chris, great stuff as always, man. We won't punch you in the face for a Texas national title. We'll save that for somebody else. But keep up the great work on SECU, my man, and we will chop it up next week.
Yeah, Rodney BK, y'all the best. Really appreciate y'all. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
See you later, brother.
There it goes. Y'all follow SEC Unfiltered and Chris Phillips on social media, of course, on YouTube as well. Putting out great content, promoting the entire SEC 24/7, 365. And yeah, that's a great question that CP poses, like he said, around this time every single year. Would you punch your best friend in the face as hard as you can if it meant your favorite team was going to win a national championship? And I don't know if it's 100% yes, but the overwhelming majority of folks who respond to that question say yes, Double R.
As a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'm sure you feel the same way, absolutely. I mean, is that what it takes? I mean, maybe that'll work. Maybe that's what gets the Cowboys over the hump.
I can tell you, I'd punch Jerry Jones in the face if that led to a Cowboys Super Bowl. I mean, it probably could, because it hurt him, and he'd have to maybe sell the team or hire a GM, because he wouldn't be able to do not that he's able to do the job anyways right now, but maybe there's like some sort of chain reaction effect that would lead to the Cowboys actually winning something. I don't know here.
He's behaving well, I have to say. I mean, it seems like there's not a lot of, I mean, you get some Jerryisms that happen, from time to time, but we just don't seem to see the aggressiveness out of him right now, which is good. I think that's a step in the right direction. Shut his ass up.
Just wait. Just wait. It won't be long. And don't forget, when the games get here, he still has to talk to the press after every single one. So he'll get back to his old ways. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, the question to me is, it's not would you punch somebody? It's would you be willing to take a punch?
Yeah.
And I think still the majority of people would say yes to that question too. But I think that's a lot harder, being the guy who takes the punch than being the guy who gives the punch. You got the moral thing if you're giving the punch, but if you're the guy who takes it, that actually hurts. Yeah,
that's where you can be like, okay, aim for the nose. I'd rather like have the nose try to heal than like the teeth. Get the teeth knocked out. I mean, I don't know. Again, you don't get to pick the exact location of the face where you're going to be punched. But
do you get to pick the friend who punches you? Like, can you claim somebody else as your best friend? If they're a little smaller, if they're a little weaker, do you get to choose who punches you in the face in this exercise?
Yeah, a little weak sauce. Get some weak sauce going there, and yeah, absolutely.
Now,
I guess the other part is, I mean, punched in the face, or would you rather be kicked in these nuts?
Depends on who's doing it, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would take either. There's no doubt. I would take either for a Texas national championship this year, and probably worse than that too, if we're being completely honest.
I both have happened to me at various points. And, neither one feels all that great, but yeah, I take it.
You lived to tell the tale, and unfortunately, you didn't get a national championship out of it. So imagine you do. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, got nothing out of it.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, we will we'll dive into a little NFL conversation. We've got the BBK news and why today's not so bad as well. I'm going to need the people's help, including you, in a moment, Double R. And we also have a good TBT video for the people, because it is a buck off and a throwback Thursday here on the show. But a couple of sponsor shout outs real quick. Some love to our great friends at Roger Beasley Mazda South. If you are in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle, check out our friends at Roger Beasley Mazda South. Their showroom is absolutely gorgeous. The people there are fantastic. The experience you get is second to none. And I know I'm driving a loaner car. I went through the process at Roger Beasley Mazda South. Great people. And man, that new CX-5, it is awesome. I'm kind of sad that I don't get to drive it while I'm up here out of town, but it is gorgeous. A vehicle that feels like a luxury car that isn't priced anywhere close to a luxury car. It's an unbelievable value. Of course, Mazda, you get that legendary reliability. You get the all-wheel drive standard in every single Mazda SUV. They're all about safety. They're not skimping on anything. I'm telling you, go test drive one of the new CX-5s or maybe the CX-50 or CX-90, whatever. Try one of these vehicles. You are going to love it. Again, Roger Beasley Mazda South, 30 straight Mazda President's Club Awards. 55 years with the Roger Beasley name in Central Texas, and Roger Beasley Mazda South, the #1 volume Mazda dealer in the state of Texas. Again, go see them. They take trade-ins, of course, new pre-owned vehicles. If you're in the market, Roger Beasley Mazda South, just off of I-35, south of Highway 71. Also, some love to McCall Custom Homes, our guy Mike McCall, Double R, you know him well, a great dude, big Longhorn fan, big listener of this show, and a guy who can turn your big home dreams into reality. Custom home builder, custom home remodeler. If you are ready for that dream home, who isn't? Make it happen. Mike McCall, it's a lot easier than you think when you call McCall Custom Homes. First of all, free estimates for listeners of this show. Mike will come out to your place. You could talk about your vision. He'll tell you what he can do, and boom, you go from there. Custom home builds from ground up, or again, you live in your place, you like your place, but you want to renovate it and make it a hell of a lot nicer. McCall Custom Homes, they do all of that, and they've been doing it in Central Texas for a very long time. Check out their website, McCallCustomHomesATX.com, or you can call or text Mike directly, 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home. And some love to Early Bird CBD as well. Got me some Early Bird gummies. I flew with them across international borders. Double R. No problems. And sometimes you try to bring some things over from the U.S. to Canada, or Canada to the U.S., or U.S. to Mexico, or whatever. Anywhere you're going, it can cause some problems. Not the case with Early Bird CBD. Only solutions with these products. They're gummies, they're drops, they're fantastic. I know you've tried them, Double R. I love them. The Buck loves them. We've got our friends and family hooked on them. CBD gummies or drops or tinctures with the microdose of THC. So you're going to feel these things, and you're going to feel good when you try these things. That's what their products are all about. Earlybirdcbd.com. Use the promo code Bucky for 20% off your first order. Love the taste of their gummies as well. Some of the gummies I've tried are just disgusting. I don't want to eat them. Early Bird, great flavors, 3 different ones to choose from. And again, the effects, you are going to love them. Earlybirdcbd.com, promo code Bucky for 20% off.
Had about a 10-hour drive the other day coming back to Texas. And of course, you get home, you're tired. Obviously, you're tired after being on the road all day. You're just stressed. You know, you can feel the stress in your shoulders, and you're hunched over on a long drive like that. And took me one of those Early Birds, and man, some of the best sleep I ever got that night. And just a gradual decline. You know, it wasn't boom and you're knocked out. You know, it just kind of relaxes you, man. Just a relaxing, out of body feeling. Highly recommend.
I love it. I love it. All right, Double R, I need your help, and I need the people's help here. And maybe this is not a difficult task that I need to do. I'm just not happy that I have to do it. I've been invited to a fall wedding.
Ooh.
And I mean, that happens every year. But this fall wedding is for one of my best friends from high school, a guy who I still consider a very, very good friend to this day. And didn't go to Texas, went to Texas Tech, but I do believe Texas Tech is also playing a game on the date of his wedding. The wedding is September 19th. That's when Texas plays UTSA. So for a lot of folks out there, the Meet the Road Runners, a lot of folks out there, it's like, it's UTSA. It's not that big of a game. That's one I can miss. But in this line of work, we got the pregame show at Schultz Garden. We got stuff going on. I'm afraid I can't go to this one. Like, Could I maybe find a way to do it? Yes, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So I got a text yesterday. We're coming up on the RSVP deadline. I got a text yesterday. Hey, man, you coming to the wedding? Just trying to get a final head count here and figure out some numbers, which, first of all, what's the point of having an RSVP deadline if you're going to reach out to me before the deadline?
Right.
I thought I had a few more days on this, but I don't know. Do I need to sugarcoat this at all? Do I need to say anything, or do I just say, this is what you get for having a wedding during football season, dude? I'm not going.
Yeah, that RSVP thing, it's like kind of my thing is, if you don't hear from me, I ain't going. So yeah, don't reach out. But you've got I mean, you can call it an excuse, but it is what it is. I mean, I think we've all in this industry used it to where it's like we get out of doing stuff because I have to work.
Right.
And that's kind of one of the arguments that I always got from people where it's like, let's do this. I can't, I got to work. And they're like, well, what do you mean you got to work? I'm like, I got to watch Texas against UTS.
Right.
That's not work. I'm like, yes, it is work. I have to talk about it. You know, I use it a lot on Sunday stuff to where it's like people want to go do brunch or whatever. I'm like, I got to work.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You have an event? No, I have to watch a NASCAR race. You know, I have to talk about that. That's my job. So you've got that built in. I don't care if it's UTSA or whoever it is. Yeah,
right.
Man, easy out.
Easy out. And I'll feel like he'll forgive me and he'll get over it and it's no big deal. But it's like, man, it's you know, a guy you've been friends with for a long time. And in his eyes, he's thinking, how could I do that to him for a UTSA game? In my eyes, I'm thinking, how could he do that to me? A wedding during football season? What are we doing? Like, come on, what kind of person are you? And this is a big sports fan. Well, everyone claims to be a big sports fan, and then the ones who, I should say, football fan. It's different depending on which sport you care about the most. But people who claim to be a big football fan and then end up scheduling their weddings in the fall, I get it. There are some circumstances that are extreme where you don't have a choice. I understand that. I respect that. But when you do have a choice, like this guy did, come on, man. How could you do that? How could you stab me in the back like that? I want to go to your wedding. I want to be there on your big day. How could you do that to me? That's really, he should be apologizing to me for doing that, not the other way around, right?
Well, and the Stone Cold Steve Austin bottom line of this scenario is that dude had no say in that wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely no say. It's kind of one of those things. He's just told what time to be there, what to wear, when to show up, all of that. Who was the player that had to leave camp? It was Texas, wasn't it? That had to leave camp to get married. Remember that?
Was that Vernon Broughton? Who was
Vernon
that?
Broughton. That's right. Remember all of that?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Yeah, fall wedding. That's just not wise, man.
Yeah, and it's funny and perhaps a little selfish. And look, maybe he's being a good fan. I mentioned it. He went to Texas Tech. Texas Tech that week, they do play a game, but their game's on Friday.
Oh.
And it's Houston. And I noticed, because I was like, okay, if there's a Friday night dinner or an event or something, I'll just, he lives in Dallas. The wedding's in Dallas. I'm like, I'll drive up for that. I'll tell him I can't go to the actual wedding because of work, but I'll drive up for the Friday thing. It's no big deal. He'll forgive me. There's none of that. And that's probably because Texas Tech's playing a game on Friday. And the bride also went to Texas Tech, and she's a decent sports fan too. But yeah, no Friday wedding. We're going to watch the Tech game, but we don't care about any other school, I guess. If you root for somebody else, then sorry, you got to sacrifice your Saturday for us.
Yeah. Okay. So I will take back what I said about your friend. Then he did have some say in the wedding. That's pretty smart right there. That may impede with the rehearsal and all that, but you can have it on there, so the game can be on while that's going on. But
yeah. So I got to try. I think we've learned that I just need to tell him he needs to apologize to me. I don't need to apologize to him for not going. It's he owes me the apology.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got to work. Easy out. Like jury duty. I got to work, man. I can't do it.
And I need your advice on this one, Double R. Are you a cruiser? Have you been on a cruise before?
I have never been on a cruise ship. And I don't think it would bother me. I don't get seasick. I mean, a lot of people think I haven't done it because I don't want to be stuck out in the middle of the sea. When I start floating out and I can't see land or I can't see something back over there, dude, I freak out. I freak out.
Not a big water guy then, huh?
Oh, I like swimming and going to the beach and all that, but I'm not going to go out very far because you get all delusional out there. And Have you ever seen the? Well, no. If you're going on one, I'm not even going to talk about it. Have
Oh,
you seen the?
I'm watching the Titanic today after the show just to get ready for this.
Well, have you seen the one where these people were out on a cruise and like all the plumbing went bad and the boat was full of floating debris and poop and
what it was like the Horn during the snowpocalypse a few years ago?
Yeah, it was called. I forget what. There's a whole documentary about it. Man, the poop cruise. The poop cruise.
Original name right there. Yeah, very subtle by the creators of that.
Yeah, people were stuck there, and they were there. There was floating matter everywhere, and it was ACs didn't work, and it was.
Oh God, horrible. That's a problem. Well, can't you just do that off the side? If you got to use the bathroom, can't you just, I guess, if you lean over too far, that's a pretty far fall, and that might be game over. So I
think people were doing that after it happened. I mean, because there was no functioning plumbing there, and they were like being forced to do that, and stuck out there.
I'm very excited, very grateful. I was invited by the girlfriend's family to go, but I need some advice. Like I went on a couple of cruises, but it's been since I was in middle school. I went with my family growing up, but it's been a long time. Like I've never been able to drink. I've never been able to gamble. I've never been able to like do adult stuff on cruises. So I'm trying to figure out like I'll be hosting shows from what ocean is over here? The Pacific one?
Pacific?
That's the one by Alaska and Canada and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the Pacific. Yeah, okay. That's the Pacific.
That's so yeah, we'll be doing shows. We'll be working from there. But I don't know what to do. I gotta do I just go eat a bunch? They got all you can eat food. I feel like I'm gonna be spending a lot of time there with the bigs.
Well, I see on these things where you can play tennis, you can play pickleball. Apparently there's a lot of dancing, that's always going on. But I mean, it's never. Look, I'll be the first to admit where the first time I went to Vegas, I was like, okay, it just didn't really satisfy what I thought it was going to do. I just really wasn't impressed. And as I've gone the times thereafter, it's delivered what I thought it was going to deliver. So I don't know. Maybe if I went on a cruise, I just don't think that it's anything. I don't want to sit around eating all day and just lay out on the boat deck and play tennis or any of that stuff. Dance. I'm not a dancer. I got a bad hip, for crying out loud. I don't.
So you're out on the cruise. No interest in ever going on one, huh?
No. And I've had people where they're like, "Hey, we're doing a group cruise," and I think that's the other part of it too for me is you know me pretty well. I kind of like to live like after 3 weeks on the road dealing with a lot of people. I literally have not left this place but one time to pick up HEB curbside since I've been back. It's like I don't want anybody around me. I think that's my biggest fear with the cruise, but I don't think you'll have that problem.
Yeah,
you're pretty outgoing fella.
That's the thing, right? Like you are stuck with the same people for a week now. There's so many people on these ships to where it's like, all right, you don't have to deal with somebody if you don't like them. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm curious. I'm going with a decent sized group of people, so maybe we'll just stick to ourselves. I feel like I'm going to be working the entire time trying to find cool places to do the show. I'm going to be the most annoying person on the ship. There's no doubt because, the live portion of the show obviously is 8 to 10 Central Time. I think it's 3 hours before is the time zone that will be. So it's like 5 to 8 a.m. I'll be waking everybody up. I feel like the rooms are very close together. I'm sharing a room with a girlfriend, so she's going to hate me. She already does. But like everybody on the show, like I'm going to be the most obnoxious person there because nobody else is going to be hosting a podcast or radio show at any point, and I'm going to be doing it before the crack of dawn every single. So I'm going to be the hated guy. Like I'm already bracing myself. People are going to be avoiding me because they're going to know I'm the guy who's keeping everybody up at night every single night.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest things that when I'm traveling and I'm doing a show like this or whatever, where you come walking out of that hotel room in the morning and people are looking at you like, who the hell's he talking to in there? And one person actually asked me, I think I was doing chaos theory somewhere, and I came walking out. It was one of those that got a little animated, and I came walking out, and the lady's like, "Who you got in there?" Like, there's nobody in there, so you have to explain all that. But yeah, you're gonna irritate some people, dude. They might man overboard.
Hey.
Man overboard.
Yeah, that may be it. It may be the end of me. That's a good way to go, I guess, if I'm going to go. But I'm, we talk about airport and airline stories. I'm curious what the client. I'm going to be people watching. That's
Yeah.
like my favorite part of trips like this and going to places with a lot of people. It's just observing and experiencing. And if you're in a place that I'm in, I automatically have your consent to film you and talk about you. So just I'm letting everybody know on this cruise line that I'm about to go on that that's going to happen. So I'm excited to see what kind of people we encounter this week for sure.
And I think that it really is the cool thing about it, where you have that. I mean, I hate to say excuse, but you have that out on some of that getting away from people, where you have the things that you have to do to go seclude yourself to do your work. So you kind of have that in place. I know when I travel, like when I travel, if it's like even with just one other person and it's going to be an extended 2-week or whatever thing, I mean, I have that conversation ahead of time to where it's like, look, I tell you right now, I've got a coworker where he likes to go out and do stuff, wants to go have dinner and wants to do all these different things. And he knows that at some point I'm going to be like, dude, I just need to decompress a little bit. So, I mean, I think if you have that there, but again, different situation where having not been on a cruise, the people watching is going to be all over the map. Like from El Paso to McAllen, all over the map.
Oh God. Yeah. That is all over the map right there. So we'll see. Just, I'll keep y'all posted on everything that I encounter on board this cruise ship
when is
starting
this?
today.
Next week?
Today.
Oh,
get on the boat today. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Leave today and land. I think it ends in Alaska next week.
Holy moly.
And then in classic BK fashion, I will be taking a red eye from Anchorage to Boston for a wedding next weekend.
Oh, wow. So have you locked in? So internet capability and all that is
I was
good?
told they've got the Starlinks, whatever that is. No rectum, no spectrum out there, thankfully. I don't have to worry about that. My rectum days are done, by the way. I moved. I am done with. And it's funny, Double R, you'll get a kick out of this as a guy who's used. Are you still a spectrum guy now?
I am a rectum guy now.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry for this. So I walked in with like, to cancel my service in my old apartment. And I had all the equipment, the cable boxes, the router, the modem, whatever. And I'd like walk in with like a giant trash bag. And the guy's like, cancellation? I'm like, yep. Which means that happens a lot. Where people, and it's probably not just because they're moving. It's probably like they're so pissed with the rectum that they just, they're used to it. He knew exactly what I was doing. They're like 99 out of 100 customers who walk in there are doing exactly what I was doing. Yeah. So, thankfully, none of that on the ship. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, rectum is unfortunately a part of the package. Here where I reside, so you and I have kind of flipped roles. So now, so you're officially now a homo, right?
I'm not a homo, thankfully.
Oh, you're not a homo. Okay.
Well, thankfully, but also, it'd be cool to be a homo at some point. But it's
I thought that you had done that. Okay.
No, I'm renting a home, but not owning a home yet. No purchase has been made on this thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to tell you because the joy of moving. I'm sure your back is probably glad that that's all done, but downsizing at some point when you get to be an older lad, such as I, you will probably downsize, and it does get much easier.
There you go. It's good to know. Yeah, no one wants to hear about my move, but it hasn't been fun, and it's not done. So that's why I'm glad I'm on vacation, because I don't have to think about that for a while.
Did the girls upstairs help you?
Of course not. And I knocked on the door too, and no answer.
Come on, man.
I know. And they were probably in there. They probably looked in the little peephole thing and were like, no chance. Yep. No help from the girls upstairs.
Like, goodbye, Brad. Brad.
Exactly. Yeah. They still owe me. I should just Venmo request them or slip them a note under the door. Like, hey, I didn't forget. All right. Before we get to our TBT video for the day and maybe end with a little NFL conversation, because the preseason does return tonight. Quick sponsor shout out, Relax the Bag. I miss my Relax the Bag chair. That's another thing that I'm sad about not being back home. I've got the zero gravity massage chair from Relax the Bag. Shout out to my parents. They bought one a couple of years ago. They want to upgrade, so I get the old one. Perfect.
Nice.
Awesome. Incredible stuff. Love Relax the Back. They've got those zero gravity massage chairs. They've got office chairs. They've got mattresses. They've got accessories. Relax the Back. It's in the name. They want you to relax. They want you to be more comfortable with your day-to-day life, and they're trying to help get rid of your back pain or prevent you from having back pain in general. Go see them. 2 great Austin area locations, one up north in that Gateway Shopping Center, the other down south by the Hill Country Galleria, or in the Hill Country Galleria. Relax the Back. Go see them and upgrade your chair. Just be more comfortable in this life. That's what Relax the Back is all about. A shout out to them, and also a shout out to Woods Comfort Systems. HVAC and plumbing, they've been doing it for 70 years in Central Texas. So if you are a homo, unlike me and unlike Double R, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Reach out to the folks at Woods Comfort Systems. It can be a bad thing if your AC screws up on you and you try to fix it yourself. That's not going to work. It can be a bad thing if you've got some plumbing problems and you try to do it yourself. That can create some problems that you don't want to deal with. Reach out to the experts and the best of the business, our friends at Woods Comfort Systems, 512-842-5066, or online, woodscomfortsystems.com. All right, Double R, you have a lot of experience doing play-by-play, correct?
I do. I've done it a time or two. Yeah.
You've called football games. You've called basketball, baseball, NASCAR, other sorts of racing. I feel like you've done a little bit of everything in your life.
Yeah. Done parades, rodeos, done it all.
What's your favorite event to call, or maybe the favorite event that you've ever called in your life?
I gotta say, even with some of the bigger tier auto races that I've gotten to do, get to do a state championship game. When I did the LBJ game, that was pretty cool. I mean, especially up there at Jerry World, like in the broadcast booth where Brad Sham is at. You know, the horrible view. I hear about the horrible view all the time. They're totally right, but that right there, that's got to be the highlight at this point. Just getting to do it on that stage. That's
a big deal. That's awesome.
Cool.
Wow,
that was cool.
Yeah. So you're very good. You're very trained at this. And this is not a sport here. This is not your typical play-by-play. I can't imagine you've ever called anything like this, but I'd like for you to, do some play-by-play and just kind of explain to the people. There's no sound in this video clip that we're about to play. And a lot of folks tune in, on the app or to the radio portion of this program. So there's some folks who won't be able to see exactly what's happening here. So I'd like for you to do the best that you can in giving some play-by-play of this moment, this Throwback Thursday clip of a woman who had a tough time with her vehicle. You ready?
All right. Yeah, let's give it a whirl.
All right, here we go.
All right, off we go. The vehicle is taken off. She's in her white pants. It's going over the median. I think she's given up. No, now she's chasing back after it, but the vehicle refuses to stop now into a grassy area. She's gaining ground. She's on the left quarter panel of the vehicle. She's moving along the windows. She's making an attempt to dive in. My view is blocked for a moment. She's still running side by side. I guess we can call it trotting. Still trying to get a hold of the wheel. She's down on one knee. She's dragging. I think her left leg has been run over, and the vehicle has fallen into the ravine, and she lays there wondering what the hell just happened.
Nicely done, sir, with not having seen that clip before. Dude, this may be – so it's a woman who's like, she's not in her car.
Is that my daughter?
Her car is left in neutral, and it is just – or in drive. Yeah. And it's just rolling away, and she just forgot to put it in park, got out of the car. Her car's rolling away. It's going through streets, and she's trying to get back into the driver's – I think she's trying to get back into the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Put it in park, and she is – like, the car's not going that fast at all, but she is failing miserably. She ends up falling, and like you said, the car just falls into some ravine or ditch, and that's game over for her.
Where are all the good Samaritans in this case? You know, we need to be better as a people, as they say. Where's some guy there to help a sister out? You know what I mean?
Oh, we've got to film. Someone's got to put it on the internet for us to enjoy. That's the most important thing. There's got to be two people, one to post and then maybe somebody to help. But the more important thing is someone giving us the content, you know?
got to capture that moment. So we don't want to help her. We want to laugh at her. we want her to break the internet. That is, golly.
It almost looked like at first she was trying to like stop the car with her body. Like she's trying to like slow it down here and like hold on to it. And then finally she realizes that like, oh, maybe I should jump in and hit the brakes or, put this car in park, whatever. So, I mean, you talk about self-driving vehicles. This is a real self-driving vehicle here. But like, this thing just gets worse and worse. This has to be the least clutch performance in human history. Like, this is a big moment, right? Like, I've never had something like this. I always put the car in park. Now, Bucky has the story of the parking garage where he forgot to put his car in park at a casino back home, and it ended up rolling into somebody else's car. Thankfully, it didn't roll off like a 4-story parking garage. That would have been a problem for him. But, like, okay, there's something like this. It happens. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to show what you can do. This is a test from the man upstairs, and this woman just could not have failed this any worse. It's a big moment for her, an opportunity for her to save the day, and she absolutely blew it.
And that, just think about how bad that could have been, because I'm only assuming that rolled out of a parking lot. So it rolled out of the parking lot and crossed 2 different roadways going different directions. All of those people, and she's just running alongside of it and still couldn't get it. And the vehicle doesn't look like, it doesn't look like an Elon vehicle. It looks like a Kia. Yeah. So it's not anything where a fancy gadget. Yeah, right there.
One of those hamster cars, right? One of those Kia Souls.
Yeah. And it looks like she's like grabbing on the door post right there, thinking she's going to stop it. Right there, I thought she had given up.
Yeah,
but then the adrenaline hit right there. And
that guy in the white Tesla, maybe. There's not a ton of traffic going on right now, but also, dude, this is a one-man job. This is like, if I see this thing, I'd like to think I'd get out of the car, but I'd also be like, she's got this. Like, she's by the time I get out of the car and get over there, she will have taken care of this. She's going to get in the car. She's going to step on the brake. She's going to put the car in park. I don't need to do anything. This is a one-person job here. And I wouldn't expect somebody to fail that miserably at it, but she did.
And she finally does do what we all do. When you fall down, you look to see who saw that. She does do that. When she falls, she kind of looks back over to the street, probably still waiting for the Samaritan, but all she sees is the video man.
But also, the guy's far away. Like, maybe he could get out of his car and get. He probably could get out of his car and get there at this point. But like, I don't know, man. Figure this out. I'm more mad at the lady. You're a better person than I am, saying some good Samaritan better should step up. This guy stepped up. He did his part. He played his role, and he played it well filming. Although he should have been a steady hand. The car's going in a straight line. I don't understand why he's moving so much. But yeah, that's
part, man. The car looks like it's just kind of the car is like challenging you. It's like it's very easy to stop me. All you have to do is just slow me down even slower than I'm going, get in here, and you can stop me. But still, she couldn't do it.
I don't know if we've ever seen a car commit suicide, but I feel like this car was just on a mission to be done.
Yeah,
it had seen enough.
I don't want to be with my owner anymore. She won't trade me in. She won't take me to Roger Beasley. She won't trade me in. I'm getting rid of her.
Yep. Hopefully this lady goes to Roger Beasley Mazda South, although I'm not sure I want her driving one of their cars because I like their cars,
Yeah. Do we know that she injured? I swear that car ran her over. Looked like it.
Yeah, got her leg a little bit.
Got it in the ankle, maybe a little bit right there. I don't
know. It's a good 36-second clip right there. That's a classic. And your TBT for the day. I don't know the name of the woman. I don't know if we ever found the identity of the woman or got her side of the story. I mean, we kind of see everything we need to know, but yeah, that was a tough look for her.
Yeah, and that's a thrill of victory and the agony of defeat all rolled into one right there.
Yeah, it looks like you're right. It does look like it just rolls over her lower left leg there. At first she's in pain looking for help, and then she turns and realizes that, oh yeah, I also don't have a car.
My car is gone.
Car is gone.
How am I going to get to Bunko class or Bunko game night?
She's definitely a Bunko girl.
The Bunko girl.
Absolutely. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this was fun, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times, man. Good times.
Always.
Always a good time.
And before we let you go, I want to give you the opportunity to promote everything that you've got going on with Revved Up and Dirty Air Media, and what's going on. How can people support everything you've got cooking these days?
Yeah, man. Check out YouTube right here where you were maybe catching this in the morning. Check out Dirty Air Sports, a full allotment of past shows on there. Actually, there will be a Revved Up Sports show live tonight at 6 p.m. You can catch out. We'll break down some of the NASCAR world and some of the bigger regional races that are happening around the country. Big super late model race last night. We'll talk about that and talk about some IndyCar. IndyCar's got their schedule, part of their schedule out. The NASCAR schedule's kind of trickling out. So we'll break into all that. But yeah, just subscribe, Dirty Air Sports. And as football season rolls around, you will get some of that football content on there as well. So yeah, really good stuff. We'd appreciate any support.
Beautiful.
You might want to give us.
Y'all follow Rodney on Twitter and social media as well. And check out Dirty Air Media once again. Great stuff. Thanks to all of you people for joining us. Thanks to Chris Phillips for stopping by today. Chip Brown will be co-hosting with me tomorrow, so definitely keep it locked in. I'll talk to y'all from somewhere on the Pacific Ocean, I think. We're live streaming the Titanic Part 2, I believe, Double R. That's what we're going for.
No hurricanes forming out there, are there? Who cares?
One other thing to worry about right there. Yeah, have a look.
More exciting.
It'll be fun. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we will talk to y'all tomorrow.
Okay.